right. Good morning, members of the Heritage Foundation. My name is Ricardo, and I'm here to talk to you about an issue that is affecting every one of us today. This issue deals with health care, and more specifically, the Affordable Health Care Act, also commonly referred to as Obamacare. Now, Maggie Fox, an editor at Reuters, a periodical in the UK, states that Americans pay twice as much on health care than any other individual in other industrialized nations, while receiving less quality, less efficiency, and we have a less equitable system. Now, Obamacare is necessary if we are to stabilize our health standards and help us to come up in the rankings within the health categories around the world. Unfortunately, the constitutionality of Obamacare has come into question, and I am here to argue today that Obamacare is in fact constitutional. There are three main arguments to support my thesis. First, I will argue that the health standards in America are much lower than the health standards of comparable nations around the world. Second, I will argue that upholding Obamacare's constitutionality will allow it to sort of unfold itself and be able to solve these problems of low health standards. And third, I will argue that Obamacare will not increase the federal deficit. Now, unfortunately, according to the Institute of Medicine at the Academy of Sciences, America is the only wealthy industrialized nation in the world that does not have a form of universal health care. Now, this is unacceptable because as a global leader, we cannot be viewed as being careless for our own citizens when it comes to their well-being and their health. The same Reuters piece by Maggie Fox states that America is ranked in the bottom 10% among comparable nations in terms of wealth and industrialization in various health categories. Some of these health categories include the infant mortality rate, the life expectancy rate, and the amount of money paid per person per visit to the doctor. Now, realizing this, our federal government has put forth and passed the Affordable Health Care Act, Obamacare. Obamacare, its constitutionality has been disputed by many, but according to two clauses in the Constitution, it is completely constitutional. The first clause would be the Commerce Clause, which basically states that the federal government has the power to regulate commerce between foreign nations and within the states. This means that the federal government has the power to oversee the activities of health insurance companies, and it allows them to regulate how they work with the public. The second clause would be the Necessary and Proper Clause. This clause basically states that that Congress has the power to create any laws necessary to uphold the powers of the Constitution, which would again relate to the Commerce Clause. Now, with these two clauses, you're not able to really argue the constitutionality. So with Obamacare being undisputed, it will be allowed to implement the the various aspects that will help us to raise our health standards. One of the benefits of Obamacare will be that it will regulate insurance companies so that people with pre-existing conditions, disabilities, will no longer be able to be turned away by insurance companies, whereas in the prior health system that we had, some people were going without health insurance just because they had it could range from minor illnesses, from like, I don't know, like sometimes you could be turned away just because you have the flu. If you go into your doctor and you have the flu, and it was for a checkup to see if you qualify for health insurance, they could turn you away for that. To things, to major illnesses or like cancer, you wouldn't be able to be covered by health insurance if you had cancer. Another thing that Obamacare does is it makes health insurance more accessible to the public, because it lowers the costs drastically, and and even for people who couldn't afford the low costs that will be provided, there are tax incentives for them, and there are vouchers that can be provided for these people that can't afford health insurance. Now, according to the Heritage Foundation website, Obamacare will raise the federal deficit significantly over the next 10 years. This is untrue because Obamacare actually aims to save the government money by cutting spending on federally funded medical aid for people. This means that people who were going into the emergency room because they didn't have health insurance, now because they will have health insurance, it's not going to be up to the government to foot the bill, basically. This also it holds everybody accountable for their own health insurance. It creates a sense of responsibility among the citizens, and and actually the funding for Obamacare will be offset by the savings that it creates. So in this speech, I argued that Obamacare is constitutional. I supported this claim by arguing that the current health standards in America are much lower than other comparable nations around the world. Second, I argued that Obamacare aims to solve these issues and will help propel us to the upper portion of the national health rankings, the international health rankings. And third, I argued that Obamacare will not increase the federal deficit. Now, hopefully by informing you about this, I've changed your minds about disputing Obamacare's constitutionality, and we can allow it to move forward and to help better our health care standards in America.